And we're back.
Well, hi.
Howdy there. Welcome to my channel. I'm sorry, our channel.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, I was just doing a bit.
I'll allow it, I guess.
Okay. First things first, everyone, I got new glasses. This is the base frame. They're from Pear. I got several toppers with them, but I haven't been wearing. I wore one of the toppers to dinner last night, and because my eyes are still adjusting to the updated prescription, the extra like layer just was more distracting. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go with base layer for right now. But also, I really like the clear.
Yeah, it's cute.
Thanks. And they're nice. They're cute. They're big. They're real big, and I like big glasses. Block. Oh, let me just knock my laptop over. Block my face, Papa.
Hell yeah. So how we doing, everybody? Tell us in the comments below.
Or to the side, or wherever you view your comments.
Yeah. How are you?
A little tired. I was feeling very restless earlier, but like I told you on Snap, I went for a drive, went to the car wash, just had some food. My second dose of meds kicked in. I'm feeling better. How are you?
I'm okay. I had to work today, which was my regular day off, but that's okay. I
Why
got
did you
more
end up having to
hours,
go
so
in?
because we sold out all of our rooms and didn't have enough
Oh,
people.
well, that's a good thing,
Yeah.
and it's the off season, so.
Yeah, it was really like out of the blue, but yeah.
Oh, that. Everyone's getting their refunds, their tax refunds.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you want to get into our topic this week?
Yes, I do. So,
What are you going to educate us on, Papa?
today, Papa Pee, I am going to be educating you and the poppies and myself, even though I've already read this, on Black History Month because it is February and February is Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Um, you can't see it very well, but I am wearing my Black Lives Matter shirt. I got this at the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it's got a bunch of different like artists on the back of it. Because when we were there, they were doing like an exhibit highlighting black artists, so I thought that was really cool. And it's a
That is
really
cool.
comfy shirt.
It looks really comfy. I like the color.
Yeah. Well, this is just an undershirt that I put under it because I was gonna wear a sweater, but it kept covering up the words, and I'm like,
Ah,
that's the point of
well,
wearing
it
the
looks
shirt.
cute. So,
Thanks. This is my blood donation shirt. It
hell yeah.
says, "Be the good, give blood, community blood bank." Because, I mean, I'll donate blood regardless. But if I get a free shirt for donating blood, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Are we doing a fit check? I'm
yeah.
wearing
Let me see yours.
this. I'm wearing this. And I'm wearing
Give
this.
give a description for the listeners.
um, I am wearing a blue zip up tie dye type sweater and a crop top that is black and my comfy pants.
Yes, I have comfy pants on as well. I did run that errand, like I said, and I did wear jeans, but for recording purposes, comfy pants are necessary because I don't want to
Yeah.
sit here in jeans. Yeah.
No.
And you guys don't see
No,
my
there's no
pants,
point.
so we good.
That's for
Although my
that's
pants,
for OnlyFans.
only pants.
OnlyFans.
Honestly, they're kind of cute there, though. They're like a gray, like tie-dye esque, but they're jogger style.
Yeah.
And I feel like they'd go with your hoodie well, but not well at the same time.
Ah.
Like too much of the same pattern, but also it would be cool.
Yeah, I'm just wearing my black sweatpants from Ladies and Tangents. They're
Hell
old
yeah.
merch.
I need to buy some sweatpants from them because I bought that hoodie at the live show, which was absolutely fabulous. I love them so much. And it was the last one that they had. And I was like, what size do you have in those hoodies? She goes, the only thing I have left is a 3X. I said, I want it. And there was someone else standing there with someone who was buying merch. I said, unless that's what you wanted, you were here first. And she's like, oh no, I'm not buying anything. So I was like, please give me that hoodie because I only have
Oh, that was nice
t-shirts.
of you to offer, though.
Well, yeah, I didn't, because she was there, but I was looking at the table while they were like finishing paying and stuff. And I just asked, what size after I think Chloe had asked some about sizes too. I can't remember, but they were there first, and I didn't want to snag it if that's what they were there for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes
and it
sense.
was only $50, which I think is really
That's
good
not
for
bad.
merch at any sort of live show.
Yeah, totally. I feel like
Yeah,
normally they'd be like 75 or something like that.
at least I'm pretty sure the
Yeah.
crew neck I got from the Billie Eilish concert was 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, don't remember how much this shirt was because I bought it. When did we go to Cleveland? 3 years ago, maybe. Yeah, it was. Was it after COVID? I don't know. It was for my birthday because I really wanted to go to the Cleveland Aquarium, but we also went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was really fun.
Nice.
Anyways, back to the topic. Papas and derailments. So, like I said, February is Black History Month, and being inclusive and talking about the real issues in the world is something that's important to both Haley and I. So when I, you know, it finally clicked right before February happened that Black History Month was coming up, I said, we got to do an episode. So I did some research and I found some information that I'd like to share with you all. And I found a lot of it from Black writers and Black creators and different people who are people of color instead of just going to like Wikipedia or something because I want to make sure the information is representative of who we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that was a good choice.
Okay, thank you. So, the first site that I found is called the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, also known as ASALH. The website is asalh.org. And this article, which I'm going to read word for word because I think it's written very well and I also want to make sure that I'm doing it justice, is called The Origins of Black History Month, and it was written by Daryl Michael Scott, who was the former national president of the ASALH. I mean, so for me, I know why Black History Month is important in like inherently, but I didn't know the background of where it started, and I thought that was something probably a lot of people, especially white people, don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I found this from this website, I said, this is a great way to start this off and also educate myself. Again, I am reading this word for word. So, a lot of the correct terms that some people view, it's black, some people, it's people of color, some people, it's African American. But this is from this writer, and I'm not going to change any of his words. So everything I'm saying comes straight from this site. And of course, I'll link it if you would like to go read it yourself. Sound good?
Sounds good.
The story of Black History Month begins in Chicago during the summer of 1915. An alumnus of the University of Chicago with many friends in the city, Carter G. Woodson traveled from Washington, D.C. to participate in a national celebration of the 50th anniversary of emancipation sponsored by the state of Illinois. Thousands of African Americans traveled from across the country to see exhibits highlighting the progress their people had made since the destruction of slavery. Awarded a doctorate in Harvard 3 years earlier, Woodson joined the other exhibitors. I think that's how you say that. I'm just going to say
Exhibitors?
exhibitors, yeah. Woodson joined the other exhibitors with a Black History display. Despite being held at the Coliseum, the site of the 1912 Republican Convention, an overflow crowd of 6 to 12,000 waited outside for their turn to view the exhibits. Inspired by the 3 week celebration, Woodson decided to form an organization to promote the scientific study of Black life and history before leaving town. On September 9th, Woodson met at the Wabash YMCA with A.L. Jackson and 3 others and formed the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which is the ASNLH. He hoped that others would popularize the findings that he and other black intellectuals would publish in the Journal of Negro History, which he established in 1916. As early as 1920, Woodson urged black civic organizations to promote the achievements that researchers were uncovering. A graduate member of Omega Psi Phi, he urged his fraternity brothers to take up the work. In 1924, they responded with the creation of Negro History and Literature Week, which they renamed Negro Achievement Week. Their outreach their outreach was significant, but Woodson desired greater impact. As he told an audience of Hampton Institute students, "We are going back to that beautiful history, and it is going to inspire us to greater achievements." In 1925, he decided that the association had to shoulder the responsibility. Going forward, it would both create and popularize knowledge about the Black past. He sent out a press release announcing Negro History Week in February of 1926. Woodson chose February for reasons of tradition and reform. It is commonly said that Woodson selected February to encompass the birthdays of 2 great Americans who played a prominent role in shaping Black history, namely Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, whose birthday are the 12th and the 14th, respectively. More importantly, he chose them for reasons of tradition. Since Lincoln's assassination in 1865, the black community, along with other Republicans, had been celebrating the fallen president's birthday. And since the late 1890s, black communities across the country had been celebrating Douglass. Well aware of the pre existing celebrations, Woodson built Negro History Week around traditional days of commemorating the black past. He was asking the public to extend their study of black history, not to create a new tradition. In doing so, he increased his chances for success. So he was taking the time to use traditions that were already built and grow them and also grow with them with his association.
That's really interesting though that they kind of like picked February because of those 2 birthdays. I never knew that.
Yeah, and I mean, and President's Day is in February as well because it
Mm-hmm.
celebrates a couple, Lincoln's birthday and someone else's, I don't know. And also, it's interesting to me, and I should probably do some more research on this, but I'd love to know if anyone else has more on this. That while Lincoln did declare the Emancipation Proclamation, there is things said that he didn't actually do a ton otherwise to help enslaved folks and black people. I mean, that's a huge one, obviously, but
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely
I've heard like
something,
varying things about that.
yeah. Woodson was up to something more than building on tradition. Without saying so, he aimed to reform it from the study of 2 great men to a great race. Though he admired both men, Woodson had never been fond of the celebrations held in their honor. He railed against the ignorant spellbinders who addressed large convivial gatherings and displayed their lack of knowledge about the men and their contributions to history. More importantly, Woodson believed that history was made by the people, not simply or primarily by great men. He envisioned the study and celebration of the Negro as a race, not simply as the producers of a great man. And Lincoln, however great, had not freed the slaves. The Union Army, including hundreds of thousands of black soldiers and sailors, had done that. Rather than focusing on 2 men, the black community, he believed, should focus on countless black men and women who had contributed to the advance of human civilization.
Sorry, my mic was muted again.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, because there you go. The president may be the highest held position in office in our country, but there's not as much power there as we think that there is. So
Yeah.
like Woodson said, it was the hundreds of thousands, excuse me, black men who fought in the war as part of the Union Army to work against the South to free the slaves.
Yeah, that should
Yeah.
be something that is taught in school, but uh, I have no memory of being told that.
Yeah. We'll get into that a little bit more. Not a ton, but a bit more in a few minutes here, but I completely agree. From the beginning, Woodson was overwhelmed by the response to his call. Negro History Week appeared across the country in schools and before the public. The 1920s was the decade of the new Negro, a name given to the post War I generation because of its rising racial pride and consciousness. Urbanization and industrialization had brought over 1 million African Americans from the rural South into big cities of the nation. The expanding black middle class became participants in and consumers of black literature and culture. Black history clubs sprang up, teachers demanded materials to instruct their pupils, and progressive whites stepped up and endorsed the efforts. Woodson and the association scrambled to meet the demand. They set a theme for the annual celebration and provided study materials, pictures, lessons for teachers, plays for historical performances, and posters of important dates and people. Provisioned with a steady flow of knowledge, high schools and progressive communities formed Negro history clubs to serve the desire of history buffs to participate in the re education of black folks and the nation. ASNLH formed branches that stretch from coast to coast. In 1937, at the urging of Mary McLeod Bethune, Woodson established the Negro History Bulletin, which focused on the annual theme. As black populations grew, mayors issued Negro History Week proclamations, and in cities like Syracuse, progressive whites joined Negro History Week with National Brotherhood Week. Which that I think that's cool because Syracuse, however you
Yeah,
like to say it, is not that far from me.
yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. Also, I'll probably cut this out, but I this is part of it and like part of what they wrote, and it was called like Negro History Week. But I just the word Negro, I just feel like it's so dirty to say
Yeah,
when I know it's
I
like
mean,
not
I don't,
necessarily, but I just I don't know. It's too close to the other word.
but you did say in the beginning that you were not going to change any of the wording,
Yeah,
so
and that's why because that's what it was called, and I think that's
yeah,
important because when we think about slurs and hate speech, people who take back words and then use them, this is where it's coming from. You
yeah,
know, that the word Negro came from slave owners calling them that. They
yeah,
took it back as an identifier, and that's the same with the N word today. People are taking it back as their own identifier, so you need to understand the background of it and also understand when it's appropriate to be said. Which the
right.
N word, even in books, I don't know. I'm like,
No,
no, thank
I'm
you.
not a
No,
fan.
not at all. Yeah, I remember reading Of Mice and Men in school,
Uh-huh,
and what was his name? Lenny?
I think
He was
so.
a black man, yeah, and they called him the N word in the book, and I was just like shocked because although when I was in middle school, it wasn't like a thing that, the N word was bad, but you heard plenty of people saying it. To me, like that
Yeah,
wasn't something you
totally.
said. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like most ideas that resonate with the spirit of the times, Negro History Week proved to be more dynamic than Woodson or the association could control. By the 1930s, Woodson complained about the intellectual charlatans, black and white, popping up everywhere seeking to take advantage of the public interest in black history. He warned teachers not to invite speakers who had less knowledge than the students themselves. Increasingly, Increasingly, publishing houses that had previously ignored black topics and authors rushed to put books on the market and in the schools. Instant experts appeared everywhere, and non scholarly works appeared from mushroom presses. In America, nothing popular escapes either commercialization. Nope. In America, nothing popular escapes either commercial. In America, nothing popular escapes either commercialization or eventual trivialization, and so Woodson, the constant reformer, had his hands full in promoting celebrations worthy of the people who had made the history. Which, holy shit, that statement stands so true to this day.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
relating to something I experienced, pride, gay pride.
Uh-huh.
You know, during June, all the companies come out with Pride merch, but what do they do the other 11 months of the year?
Nothing.
And I hope that that's not something that's striking from this episode either. I'm not just talking about.
A blout.
I'm not just talking about black blah blah blah. About Black History Month because it is Black History Month. I'm talking about it because I think it's appropriate for the time, but also because I think it's very important to understand. And
Yeah,
like I said,
totally.
although I knew it was important and completely agree with the celebration of it, I didn't fully understand the backgrounds and the whys. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Where were we? Well before his death in 1950, Woodson believed that the weekly celebrations, not the study or celebration of Black history, would eventually come to an end. In fact, Woodson never viewed Black history as a 1 week affair. He pressed for schools to use Negro History Week to demonstrate what students learned all year. In the same vein, he established a Black Studies extension program to reach adults throughout the year. It was in the sense Nope. It was in this sense that blacks would learn of their past on a daily basis that he looked forward to the time when an annual celebration would no longer be necessary. Generations before Morgan Freeman and other advocates of all year commemorations, Woodson believed that black history was too important to America and the world to be crammed into a limited time frame. He spoke of a shift from Negro History Week to Negro History Year.
Mm-hmm.
And I have chills because it's so true.
Yeah.
And the absolute whitewashing of our history and our society is just
It's really infuriating.
it's disgusting. I don't I mean, I understand it in the way that how do I want to say this? I don't understand why we thought it was okay to do it, but
I
I
would say,
understand
like,
how it happened.
I understand, like, why it happened, but I don't empathize with the thought process that got
Exactly.
got us here. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like in the attacks on Norway.
Yeah.
While I can kind of follow the path of thinking, it doesn't make any actual sense to me, a human who has a beating heart and lots of empathy and understanding for people who are just people.
Oh, I hate that bitch so much.
I know. And we'll get into
Oh, I
him
hate him.
again
Yes.
later.
Yes, we will.
Yes. Let's see. In the 1940s, efforts began slowly within the black community to expand the study of black history in the schools and black history celebrations before the public. In the South, black teachers often taught Negro history as a supplement to United States history. One early beneficiary of the movement reported that his teacher would hide Woodson's textbook beneath his desk to avoid drawing the wrath of the principal. During the civil rights movement in the South, the freedom schools incorporated black history into the curriculum to advance social change. The Negro history movement was an intellectual insurgency that was part of every larger effort to transform race relations. It's so crazy to me that in the 1920s, schools were teaching this. But like this was all being taught and then they swept it all under the rug. again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The 1960s had a dramatic effect on the study and celebration of Black history. Before the decade was over, Negro History Week would be well on its way to becoming Black History Month. The shift to a month-long celebration began even before Dr. Woodson's death. As early as 1940s, blacks in West Virginia, a state where Woodson often spoke, began to celebrate February as Negro History Month. In Chicago, a now forgotten cultural activist, Frederick H. Hammurabi, started celebrating Negro History Month in the mid 1960s. Having taken an African name in the 1930s, Hammurabi used his cultural center, the House of Knowledge, to fuse African consciousness with the study of the Black past. By the late 1960s, as young blacks on college campuses became increasingly conscious of links with Africa, Black History Month replaced Negro History Week at a quickening pace. Within the association, younger intellectuals, part of the awakening, prodded Woodson's organization to change with the times, and they succeeded. In 1976, 50 years after the first celebration, the association used its influence to institutionalize the shifts from a week to a month and from Negro history to Black history. Since the mid 1970s, every American president, Democratic and Republican, has issued proclamations endorsing the association's annual theme. What Carter G. Woodson would say about the continued celebrations is unknown, but he would smile on all honest efforts to make Black history a field of serious study and to provide the public with thoughtful celebrations.
Yeah.
And I just think that's beautiful. Like that
Yeah.
they don't like no speaking for him, but they know that he would feel happy about all of the efforts to do this.
Yeah.
And
That's very cool.
it's very shocking to me that all of the presidents have endorsed the theme. But I think it's probably because they know that they'll get pushback regardless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This, I think this was written after Trump was president. He would be the one I would be extra shocked about, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That was like, that looked involuntary.
It very much was involuntary. I just took a deep breath and was about to breathe out, and instead of breath, it was burp.
That was amazing.
It was. I might leave that one in there to tribute to you and your belching. Holy shit.
That was great.
Summing up, circling back to chewing noises. I have always thought about the way that I eat, but I never necessarily thought about like the noises quite as much unless it was like slurping spaghetti and stuff because
Yeah.
it's not the noise for me. It's when you slurp something that has sauce or like liquid to it and it slaps all over your face.
I'm just thinking of like, this is so dumb. I'm just thinking of like, you're slurping a piece of spaghetti and it has hands and it's slapping you as it goes.
But the little spaghetti hands are all covered in sauce and it's just getting all over your face. And I hate that feeling. My sense like
Ew.
there sometimes when I eat I will wipe my mouth in between each bite and I'm always like why are my lips so dry after I eat? It's because I'm like because I can't stand that feeling of having shit running down my face.
Yeah.
Anyways, burping, Black History Month, both start with B. Segue.
Incredible.
Let's see. I forgot to write the name of this article. Okay. So this next article that I found is from bestcolleges.com. And it was written by Bernard Grant, PhD, another black person of color. It didn't have his specific like race identifier on there, so we'll say person of color. And it was most recently updated January 4th of this year, 2024. And the article is titled Why Black History Month Still Matters. Much of Much of African American history has been left out of American history. In public schools, students mostly learn about American heroes who are not black. Rarely are students taught that past presidents owned slaves. Instead, they're taught diluted stories of the African American experience that gloss over the rich history of black contributions that have shaped the country. Whitewashed history is still taught in many schools today, and some states even went as far to ban black history in schools, which is just absolutely insane to me. Like you're banning someone's truth, a whole set of people's truth and history, and
What is the point of
like
school if you're gonna tell a bunch of stupid shit lies? Like,
right.
I hate it
Yeah,
so much.
I don't need to know the length of that hypotenuse, but I would really like to know more about black history.
Yeah,
Like,
I hate it.
yeah. Conservative states such as Arkansas, Florida, Missouri, and Texas removed black history from high school curriculums.
I'm not surprised Florida's on that list.
I was waiting for you to say that. As soon as I read it, I heard your voice say that when I was doing the research. I was like, Florida.
Yeah, that makes complete
Which
sense.
doesn't, but the thing is how many people in Florida try their best to get tan and really dark like people of color and black people?
Idiots.
It's the hypocrisy for me.
Yeah.
Another reason why Black History Month is still important and still matters is the fact that Black and African American communities are still extremely underrepresented. Black people slash African Americans still do not have adequate representation in corporations, media, higher education, and elsewhere, such as government, your doctor's office, literally everywhere.
Right.
Racial violence, including police violence stemming from racial profiling, remains a big issue. I think a huge
Yeah.
issue. Just one of the largest issues to this day. I mean, I
And the
think
fact that
if
people try to argue it like it's not real. I want to strangle people who do that.
me
The
too,
evidence
especially
has been accumulating for so long, and it's been so horrible and traumatizing for these people. And I can't imagine being a person of color and being told that the things that I've experienced, or like someone I know has experienced, is not
or someone who just looks
true.
like me
Yeah,
has
I can't
experienced.
imagine
Right.
it.
Right. No, and I remember seeing this TikTok a while ago where someone was explaining prison statistics, and it was like, oh, well, the number of black people in prison is much lower than the number of white people. When you are looking at these facts and these numbers that represent something, you don't look at the quantity, you look at the statistics, the percentage.
Yeah,
It's not the actual number, it's the percentage, it's the weight. It's not it I think it's just so sad because there are educated people who are racist to that point, but there's so many uneducated people because of the school system that we grew up with that just believe all of this bullshit because they were either never allowed to venture out into the world or never dared to because of what they learned and how they were raised, when really all you need to do is go on the internet and look at it yourself.
yeah, yeah.
But you
I remember
choose
reading
to.
a percentage, like when I was like arguing with somebody about this. I forget what the exact percentage was, but the person was like, "Oh, more white people get killed by cops than black." Like they had this percentage, and I forget what my response was, but there was a specific. Fuck, I wish I could remember it. But I like flat out proved that they're completely wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and the percentage is just drastically different. I don't know. I wish I could remember it. It's been so long since I had that conversation, but Yeah.
I feel like I remember you telling me about that, and it is true. It's just like people think that they look smart because they're showing you these facts, but it's like, okay, that's the fact, but do you understand what the fact is saying? And also, where
Yeah.
did you get that from? Is your source a reliable, credible source? Because that's
Yeah.
also important. And I think
Or is it Facebook?
exactly. One of the things, or is it a, very much conservative, racist, biased source that might seem reputable because they're a .org or whatever, but you're looking at the KKK's website, my dude. Of course,
Yeah.
they're fucking wrong and going to be racially biased against black people and people of
Yeah.
color. One of the things that I like to say a lot when I'm talking to people about these things is school shooters. Think about how many videos and photos we've seen of young white men walking out of schools after they walked in there with automatic or semi-automatic rifles and AK-47, and they're being escorted and protected with a bulletproof vest. Well,
Yeah.
a young black man, just because he looks older but he's only 15, has a pack of Skittles in his pocket and gets killed on the street because he's got
Yeah.
his hood up. Like, that is racial profile. Why do I keep trying to say flyling? That is racial profiling. And cops, at least in New York State, who are just like base level patrol, from my understanding, the police academy's not that long. They're not
No.
teaching
And
them,
I feel like it's not
or
long anywhere, really,
it's like
from what
6
I
weeks or
know.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when I had to learn how to draw blood, my class was longer than 6 weeks. I didn't have a gun. I didn't have a
Yeah.
taser. I didn't have a badge that made me think that I was better than everyone else. But
Yeah.
they don't teach police officers the necessary skills to decipher between a threat and a non-threat. So it's
Mm-hmm.
automatically ingrained in them, whether or not they had that belief before they went in, that a black person is inherently more dangerous, or a person of color. I like to say black because that is the majority of what we are seeing is black people, but also other people of color are
Mm-hmm.
inherently more dangerous than white people, which is obviously not true.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
can't imagine ever arguing against that. Like,
it's just the chosen ignorance that continues on and is just so rampant, and it doesn't make sense to me
me neither.
that you just think someone's worse or a thug or bad or whatever because they have black or brown skin.
I'm gonna the same person I had the conversation with I just spoke about. I'm not gonna say who it is, but I was talking to them at a different time, and they flat out said to me that what was the wording? They flat out said to me that black men always grow up without fathers and they end up becoming criminals.
I remember you telling
That's
me
why.
that.
Yeah. That's not the exact wording, I don't think, but it was basically that. And I straight up said to this person, that is racist. That's the
Right.
most racist thing I've ever heard anybody say in real life to my face. And oh, God, it made me so
Making
mad.
making that sort of generalized statement about a group of people based on one thing, one factor about them: the color of their skin, the country they come from, the language they speak, the religion they follow, is inherently bigoted and racist. And if you don't understand that, then you need to get an education in something other than good old boy, I love my
Yeah.
mama. You know what I mean?
Plenty of people grow up without parents and become some of the most beautiful people on the planet. And
Right.
it doesn't matter what their race is. Like,
And plenty of people grow up with great parents and then
and end up
they
being
turn out to be
shitheads.
pieces of shit, like the
Yeah.
Menendez brothers.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
it doesn't.
Anders Breivik.
Yeah.
He grew up with his
Well,
mom. She was shitty, but
yeah, I didn't say, but
I
he
don't
was
know.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. We could go on. That could be a 4 hour long
Could.
podcast about
Yeah.
racism in the government and the systemic racism that is rampant throughout this country and also others, I'm sure, but of course it's just so much worse here.
Yeah.
Something I was just listening to the Ladies in Tangent episode where they were talking about the three A's.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Well, I won't give anything much away, but Sierra was talking about how, you know, one of the coined like terms about the US is that it's supposed to be a melting pot. And we all thought that was great because that kind of represents a coming together of cultures. But
Mm-hmm.
then I can't remember if it was Jerry or Sarah, but they were talking about it and they were like, but what happens when you melt something? It changes from its original form.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, bringing everyone together and having us all mixed together could be a great thing, but if you want it to be a melting pot where you change everyone's natural form or try to change their culture or who they are, you're going to destroy part of who they are as a person, as a culture, as a group, whatever it is. So when you have these stigmas and these stereotypes that are based off of something as simple as the color of someone's skin and you drive that into someone's head enough, you're changing their form. And there
Yeah.
are plenty of other things which I would like to go into more about segregation, assimilation, and what's the other word? The word when they basically forced communities to be segregated, even, I mean, even think about in New York City today, they have different
Mm-hmm.
neighborhoods that are primarily a certain race or religion or culture or ethnicity, because when everyone tried to come together and they tried to desegregate, all of a sudden people didn't like it and white people would leave or go take over that town or buy the houses and raise the prices so people couldn't afford them, because then those people couldn't get a raise at their job because they were working for white people.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Yeah.
you continue to do these things, you are melting those people, those groups, those cultures, those races down so you can then remold them into what you want them to be. And then when you get pushback, that's where the racism starts to really come through.
Yeah.
I mean, think of
I've never
Hitler.
thought about it like that.
Yeah, that honestly, when I heard that, I was like, I have to talk about that in this episode because it works so well with it, but it also makes so much sense.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
know, when you think about people like Hitler who wanted everyone to have blue eyes, blonde hair, and was trying to kill all Jewish people and do all of this, when you're aiming to erase whole cultures or whole groups of people, you want everyone to be like you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not good for anything
No.
except
No.
I don't even know what it is good for. So I hope that made sense. But
No, it did.
doing all of these things, the continued systemic racism, the continued beat down physically, mentally, emotionally, culturally, societally of black people and people of color is just a continuation of the idea that they are less than in some way when they are not and they never were and they never wanted to fucking be here in the first place.
Yeah. We're all just human beings, and the fact that I can't understand it.
No, and
I don't know.
people will travel to other countries and admire their beauty and their culture and all these things. Well, what do you think black people have?
Yeah.
Beautiful places and culture and lives that didn't have anything to do with us until we stole them from their homes and brought them here and enslaved them and raped them and beat them and tortured them.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. Accurate representation of marginalized groups is extremely important as it reduces stigma, which gives people the space to create safe, inclusive environments where they can experience belonging. And that's important for everyone down to an individual level. Belonging is
Yeah.
one of the key factors to mental well-being, because
Yeah.
we as humans were not meant to be alone. No matter how much we love
Right.
our alone time, it's not a sustainable thing for our mental health. And when,
Mm-hmm.
again, white people created these environments where black people were not made to feel welcome, they had to create their own spaces then to feel safe and have belonging. And also, there's nothing more enjoyable than relating to people that are like you.
Right.
I mean, think about you and I. Other than each other, who are our best friends? Our siblings.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because we grew up in the same households and experienced a lot of the same things in life, and no one understands it like they do.
Yeah. Definitely.
So when you're trying to learn about your history, your culture, and you finally find other people that want to do the same, of course you're going to want to be together, because you can do these things that you've always wanted to do.
Yep.
I think it's really important to note that my job as a white person who is working to unlearn the inherent bias that I have learned societally, familially through my family,
Familial.
generationally, historically, whatever. It's my job to work to unlearn that and continue to work towards becoming 100% anti-racist. Because although I would not consider myself a racist, I do not think that I am 100% anti-racist yet, because there's a gap there, because we have to continue to unlearn these things and unlearn those natural thoughts that we have. So instead of continually correcting them, because that second thought that you have is how you truly feel, whereas the first one is how what you were taught, to be
Right.
able to get to a point where I don't have those anymore, which is something I'm going towards, and also getting to a point where I am educated enough to then fight back against racist people on behalf of people of color, because it's not their job, is something that I'm just working towards that. And part of my responsibility in that is to continue to educate myself and share what I have learned. This is a very important point, and something that took me a while to understand, admittedly, because I was like, where am I supposed to get the information if not from people of color? But it is
Mm-hmm.
not the responsibility of black people or people of color to educate us on why racism is a terrible, rampant issue and something that's just inherently wrong. They
Yeah.
experience it every day of their lives. It's not their jobs to teach us, and there are resources out there that we can find ourselves, especially in this day and age of the internet.
I think we should
And
do episodes like this like every so often because I I have like taken time to educate myself, but I as a privileged white person, I kind of stepped away from it because it was literally making me lose sleep because it was making me so angry.
mm-hmm.
But I want to start learning more so I can have conversations with people and just educate myself, you know?
No, yeah, I completely agree. And that's something I struggle with as well, is sometimes the fights get exhausting, the
Mm-hmm.
teaching the argument, but then you have to think of it from the viewpoint of someone who deals with it and also deals with the repercussions of it, whether that be mental, emotional, or physical harm that comes to them as black
Right.
and people of color. So
Mm-hmm.
today we're lucky to have online spaces where people of color can take the time to share information for us to learn, and I'm very thankful for them. There are so many out there. I
Definitely.
think it would be really cool if in the comments on this episode, video, whatever clips we put out, if people would comment some of their favorite black creators
Yeah,
so we
that'd be
can
cool.
support them more, because even just views or follows can help, if if they're doing it financially or whatever it is. And also, the more we share, the more perspectives we can get.
Mm-hmm.
um, but also just to take the time and look at the actual history, because there are lots of resources out there on the actual history of these things that we have learned in such a whitewashed version.
Right.
So when you have a platform, regardless of how big or small, there's a lot of responsibility with that. And I would like to use that responsibility right now to take some time to uplift the voices of Black people and other people of color. I found a couple people on TikTok that I found like really liked their videos and what they were sharing, and I want to make sure that we give them 100% credit. So please go watch their videos, support them on TikTok, Facebook, wherever they are. The first one is TikTok creator K Tizzle, and his handle is at king of oneself underscore 100. Again, I will put these in the notes so everyone can find them. And for Black History Month, he is taking the time to share stories of lesser known Black folks who contributed greatly to American society and the continued civil rights movement and other parts of just life in general. Gotta adjust my ass.
Adjust that ass.
Ass adjustment.
I'm gonna eat
Adjust me,
Cheeto.
Papa. Adjust me, Papa. I was about to get comfy and then my toe cramped.
Toe cramp me, papa. What?
I was waiting like that for so long for you to look at me. There's the mist in the Twilight Forest. Also,
I seek you.
this is
When I'm not scared. I don't know any of the words.
other. I know I seek you out.
Yep, that's about it.
Yep. Also, everyone should definitely go look at our TikTok and I mean like, share, save, comment on all of our videos, but specifically there's one that Haley just posted and it has to do with ha 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 and all of my Twilight girly pops.
Hell yeah.
Check us out. So, Kay Tizzle shared a story and some background on the amazing Shirley Chisholm. I think I'm saying that right. It's either Chisholm or Chisholm, but I think it's Chisholm because you know HOLM is always pronounced like home instead of home. Home. Home, 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 home. I'm terrible. So, I think I had heard of her previously, but my brain might just be telling me that because she's really fucking cool. Shirley Chisholm was the first African American woman in Congress and the first woman and African American to seek the nomination for President of the United States from one of the two major political parties. That part I did not
Whoa.
know. I thought Barack was the one and only from the major parties.
Did you just like slip into a southern accent there? Or am I hearing things? I thought Barack.
Well, I think it was the way I was trying to emphasize it. It sounded a little southern.
It was nice.
Thank you. It was nice. You got a nice southern accent there.
Really enjoyable.
It was probably because Megan put on the Britney Spears movie Crossroads earlier, and in that movie she's got a touch of a southern accent.
I haven't seen that
Channeling
movie
my
in so
inner
long.
Britney. Me neither. I barely remembered any of it, and then I left the house, so I didn't really see much of it. But on that note, baby, can't you see I'm calling? A guy like you should wear a warning and dangerous. I'm loving it. I was like tired and stuff before, and then seeing your face and drinking more coffee just brought out the Britney Spears.
It's Britney, bitch.
It's Britney, bitch. Oh, I almost missed. Did you? I was like this. On top of my lip.
Pour it up your nose.
No, that sounds like absolute hell. We would probably have to stop recording. I might have to go to the emergency room. Do you think it would soak
No!
into my brain?
Would you drown?
It depends on which way it
If you.
goes. Does it go
We
like
have to figure
up
this
into
out.
my sinus cavities and towards my brain, or does it go into my lungs?
I don't know.
Because if it goes into my brain and I can just soak my brain in coffee, maybe I found the cure for ADHD.
Or death. Not the cure for death, but just you found death.
The cure for death. Band name, called it. Not the cure, but the cure for death. And every song I just go, live, 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 live. That's the cure for death. To live.
We've solved it, everybody.
Yes. I just choked on my laugh. Oh no, it's happening again.
That's the cure for death, to live.
It's like when we text each other and you're like, I'm tired today. I'm like, have you ever tried sleeping? I just picked my wedgie. I shouldn't have said
I wasn't expecting.
This is hysterical laughter brought to you by the Cure for Life and my wedgie. Or the Cure for Death and my wedgie.
The cure for life is death. Oh, I'm gonna throw up.
Like when you go and ask someone and you're like, how's it going? And they're like, living the dream. And you're like, I know how to solve that. Die. Anyways, back to Shirley. Try not to laugh. It's that thing we do where we're being so serious again, and then all of a sudden my brain's like, no. Piss your pants. And then it does stuff like that and makes you go off again.
Piss your pants. Today, I think I told you about the shirt that I almost bought that's like a kaleidoscope type design on the front, and it just says piss yourself.
Yes. And I still think you should buy it.
I don't know where
And-
I would wear it.
On the podcast every time.
True.
This is my podcasting shirt. Can I have a matching one? My birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. Piss yourself. she pisses when she farts. Sometimes she sharts. Booty rocking cowgirl coming to my heart. I love
All right.
that little chihuahua in the hat. Okay, back to Shirley.
I'm
Fuck
sorry.
off. It's okay.
Okay.
Born in Brooklyn, New York on November 30th, 1924, Chisholm was the oldest daughter of was the oldest of four daughters to immigrant parents Charles St. Hill, a factory worker from Guyana, and Ruby Seal St. Hill, a seamstress from Barbados. She graduated from Why can't I fucking read? She graduated from Brooklyn Girls High in 1942 and from Brooklyn College cum laude, I can never say that, in 1946, where she won prizes on the debate team. Although professors encouraged her to consider a political career, she replied that she faced a quote-unquote double handicap as both black and female. She started her career as a nursery school teacher and earned a master's degree in early childhood education from Columbia University. So, high school, college, and then a master's degree at Columbia. And Columbia is a big
Yeah.
prestigious school.
That's badass.
Yeah. She ended up leaving her career as a nursery school teacher, and in 1964, she ran for and became the second African American in the New York State Legislature. Then, in 1968, she sought and won a seat in Congress. There, Fighting Shirley, which is what her nickname came to be, which I think is so cool. Also, she just, even her pictures look so cool. It is the 60s, but so it's like part of the outfit too, but she just had the look. It
I'll
was
look
just,
up a
she
picture of
just
her.
really cool.
How do you spell her
There,
last name?
Fighting CHISHOLM. So while in Congress, Fighting Shirley introduced more than 50 pieces of legislation and championed racial and gender equality, the plight of the poor, and ending the Vietnam War. That's a huge rap sheet.
Yeah,
That's fucking amazing. And we
it
didn't hear
is.
anything about her. I grew up in New York State where she
Mm-hmm.
was on the legislation, and I didn't fucking learn about her. Disgusting. Do
Yeah.
better, schools.
Yep.
She was a co founder of the National Women's Political Caucus in 1971, and in 1977 became the first black woman and second woman ever to serve on the powerful House Rules Committee. Discrimination followed Chisholm's quest for the 1972 Democratic Party presidential nomination. She was blocked from participating in televised primary debates, and after taking legal action, was permitted to make just one speech. Yeah. Yeah. Still, students, women, and minorities followed the Chisholm Trail. She entered 12 primaries and garnered 152 of the delegates' votes, which is 10% of the total, despite an under-financed campaign and contentious despite an underfinanced campaign and contentiousness from the predominantly male congressional black caucus. So not only did she fight discrimination because she was black, but she fought discrimination from other black people because she was a woman.
That's insane. Uh, this could have been like representation for black people, black women, and just women in general. Like,
Children of immigrants,
yeah,
mixed race people because her mother was from Barbados and her father was from Guyana. Like, the amount of representation. And for her to garnish 10% of the delegates' votes, it doesn't seem like a lot, but to be the first black woman and only the second woman
yeah,
to try
that's
to
impressive.
win the to be on the docket for the Democratic Party is huge.
Yeah, definitely.
She went on to unfortunately she didn't win, but she went on to do a lot of other wonderful things. And before her passing in 2005, Fighting Shirley regarding her legacy stated, "I want to be remembered as a woman who dared to be a catalyst of change."
Hell
Which
yeah.
is just, I have chills. I love that. I feel like that's something I strive for, is to be a catalyst of change, and I also love the word catalyst. So that's a
Catalyst.
little bit. Let me be your catalyst, baby. Honestly, because, well, not all women have pussies, but pussy is mostly regarded to women. So if it is a woman who is the catalyst of change, it would be a catalysy.
Yep.
Connecting those motherfucking dots. Why do I love, like, someone just put me down.
No, I won't do it.
So there's definitely more out there about Shirley, but for the purpose of time, I ended it there on her beautiful note about her own legacy. And I think that everyone in the world should work to be a catalyst for change, but only if you're doing it for good.
Agreed.
And again, that was from TikToker K Tizzle. The next TikTok I found, which I went mainly to TikTok because that's a large, source of social media now. And also, I know that there are a lot of different creators from different backgrounds. So, the next TikTok account I found was called Gen Z Historian, and the handle is at Khalil Green, which is K-A-L, nope, Elch, K-A, K-A-H-L-I-L-G-R-E-E-N, and I will, of course, tag them in the notes and everything, in which the creator, Khalil Green, and guest Robin Roberts, who is a famous, I believe, television host. She is the anchor of ABC's Good Morning America. Oh, whoa, I just pushed my desk. So, Khalil Green, who his account is the Gen Z Historian, and his guest, Robin Roberts from ABC's, what did I say? Good Morning America?
I think so.
Yes. She's Robin Roberts, who is the anchor of ABC's Good Morning America, went on TikTok and made a video for Black History Month or to spread awareness in general. And they shared the story of the Harlem Hellfighters. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Me neither. And this is something, like, the general idea of it is something I was aware of, but the details are amazing and mind-blowing, and the fact that we didn't learn any of this in school, again, is just really fucking frustrating and ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, like me, and many others, many people out there are likely unaware that approximately 200,000 African Americans served in World War One. Were drafted. Even though they weren't
Yeah.
given the same rights as everyone else, they were treated in the draft like every other of age man.
I didn't know that.
One of the most well-renowned units of African American combat troops was the highly decorated 369th Infantry, and they were best known as the Harlem Hellfighters, which I think is a badass name. Before setting out for Europe, the unit was refused permission to participate in the farewell parade of New York's National Guard.
So stupid.
Yeah. The New York's National Guard was known as the Rainbow Division, and they said that the Harlem Hellfighters couldn't be part of the parade because black is not a color in the rainbow. Everyone needs to stop using my rainbow to be bigots because gays own the rainbow. And I speak for the gays, and we say fuck racism.
Hell yeah.
And if you're a racist gay person, what?
Like,
Ew. Fuck off.
reevaluate your life.
You're a minority too, so get with it. I won't delve into it too much, but people who are part of minority groups who discriminate against other minority groups just absolutely blow my mind.
Couldn't understand
Because,
it if I tried.
yeah, they don't have the same experience, but they are going to go through similar things where they are hated on simply because of one faction of who they are as a human being. That is not the biggest part of it. The unit was assigned to fight under the 16th Division of the French Army because many white American soldiers refused to serve with black soldiers. But why?
Yeah.
You're all there for the same fucking thing. So they were assigned
I'm without words.
right, exactly. And they were assigned to fight under the French army. And during that time, the Hellfighters quickly proved their bravery and skills. The group had a few nicknames before Hellfighter was coined, but it is believed that German foes dubbed the regiment with the name for their courage and ferocity. So the Germans who we were fighting against, the foes, gave them the Harlem Hellfighters name because of how fucking badass they were. But
That's awesome.
the
I
widow,
love that
the
name.
widow, the widow sad white American boys couldn't handle the fact that there were black people there.
Oh no.
Oh no, my pride is so hurt. And this was in New York, which, was part of the Union,
Hmm.
not part of the Confederacy. So move, go away. We don't want you.
Yeah.
Go to fucking
Get out.
Guantanamo Bay. Yeah. Get out right now. It's the
Right
end of
now,
the
you and
Confederacy.
me. It's too late, and I can't wait for you
For
to
you
be
to be
gone. 'Cause I
gone.
wonder
Oh, yeah.
about her,
Beautiful.
and I wonder how I bought all the lies. You said that you would treat me right, but you were just a waste of time.
Did you know she was only 13 when she wrote and sang that?
I did not, but I feel like she was definitely robbed of a fantastic career by record labels and shit. But we don't have to get into that.
Yeah. But she is back on the rise and remaking some of her songs and stuff.
I love that.
Yes. Remind me later if you remember, or if I remember, I'll send it to you. But if neither of us remember, maybe when I'm editing this, I'll remember. And I'll send you some of her stuff.
Okay.
Anyways, so the Germans gave them that name because they were so fucking badass. And during the war, the Harlem Hellfighters spent more time in continuous combat than any other American unit of the same size. So not only were they fucking scarier, but they worked harder
Yeah.
and spent
Doesn't surprise me.
continuous combat. I'm sure part of it was because they were forced to because they were black people. I didn't get too much into the background of why, but they still did it. And I'm sure the majority of them did it because they wanted to, other than the fact that they were drafted. But while they were there, they were fighting for something that they thought that they could believe in.
Yeah.
Sadly, they also suffered more losses than any other American regiment. But, I mean, if they're in more continuous combat, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
At the end of the war, 771 members of the Harlem Hellfighters were awarded medals from the French government, multiple medals, and some members received U.S. military awards. So, like, the French government recognized them, which is, I think, amazing.
Yeah,
The
but
Harlem...
just everybody should recognize them because they busted their ass.
Yeah, everyone should recognize them and we shouldn't have war in the first place, but that's a whole
Yeah.
other topic for a whole other
Yeah.
set of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're recognizing them now and hopefully we can spread the word enough that people look into them more and see
Yeah.
how amazing they were. The Harlem Hellfighters were the first New York combat unit to return home, and the regiment, which had been denied in a place in the farewell parade earlier in the prior year, was rewarded with a victory parade. So, too little, too late?
What did they just like expect them all to die and all the white men to come back victorious? Like what was the thought process there?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't value them, and then all of a sudden, because they fought in World War One and succeeded, that
Yeah.
they then had value, which is not the way that you're supposed to treat human beings.
No.
We don't have value ratings. This isn't a Antiques Roadshow, but that's how people are in the world. Unfortunately, the Hellfighters' fame quickly faded, and their story was largely erased from America's history and consciousness, which is why we had not heard of them until this point.
Yeah.
And the fact that so many people don't know or fully realize that there were lots of black people that fought in the military in World War One and World War Two, which was not long after they had just been granted their freedom, but were still drafted and forced because they were able-bodied men to
Yeah.
fight, but were still being treated like shit because they were black, even though they were willing to go fight for a country that wasn't treating them so well. The hypocrisy is disgusting.
Yep.
And to wrap this up, I wish I could do more. There are so many good stories out there. I'm thinking maybe I'll make this like a reoccurring thing where I take some time out of an episode or just a whole episode to recognize other, people of color, black people, or even just people who are doing good in the world, but focusing on people of color and black people.
I think that's a
And
good idea.
there are obviously so many more black creators, educators, historians, and figures that need to be appreciated and shared. If you have a favorite one or one that you have interest in and you'd like to comment, message, whatever, and share, we'll give our social media at the end, and I would love for you to send that because I can scour the internet and who knows what I'll miss or who knows what there isn't that much information out there about that. Or if you're someone and you want to share like your familial history and like your grandpa was the inventor of toaster strudel, like I want to know.
Same.
Do you get that reference?
No.
It's a Mean Girls reference. It's either my father or my grandfather. My grandfather, the inventor of toaster strudel, will
Oh,
not
well,
be
now
happy to
that
hear
you
about
say it in
this.
that tone, it
Gretchen
rings a
Wieners.
bell.
Yes. I hope other people get it. When you didn't react the way I thought, I was like, oh no. So, overall, Black history is American history, and changes need to be made so we are all educated on the huge contributions made to society by Black people and other people of color. Runs rampant throughout the United States and the world to this day, and we can only help by lifting the voices of the oppressed and striving to make changes at every level: personal, one on one, families, groups, schools, local governments, top level governments, everywhere. We need to work to make those changes, and it's hard, and not one of us can do it, but all together we can. And millennials, Gen Zers, Gen Alphas, we, I think, are the ones who need to really work to make that change.
Yeah, I agree.
Call out your racist family, correct people when they are wrong, and educate yourselves, and we will continue to do the same and share.
Yes.
Yes, but that is all I have. Happy Black History Month. Again, I want to hear more. I want to do more. Let us know if you have resources you want to share. We will continue sharing resources and hyping up creators and stories of Black people and people of color. But do you have anything you want to add before I send us out?
No, you ended it really well, so
Thank you.
yeah.
If you have anything you want to share, comments, questions, we welcome anything. Don't be a bigot. Don't be a racist. We will call you out. But if you have genuine questions or concerns or want to discuss politely, we are definitely here for it. You can do that in the comments on this YouTube video. In the questions on the Spotify episodes, there's always a poll at the bottom, and a lot of the time it's just, what did you think of this episode? We want to hear it. You can reach out to us on social media. Our Instagram is at EducateMePapa. Our Facebook is at EducateMePapa the podcast. Our TikTok is at EducateMePapa. And you can send us an email at educatemepapa@gmail.com. And we really hope to hear from you and hope that we can continue educating each other.
Yes.
Agreed?
I second that. Yes.
Woohoo! And, as always, we would like to thank you for listening. 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 Fuck racists. Fuck bigots. Thank you for listening. Fighting Shirley is gonna haunt you all if you decide to be racist. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Those get more unhinged every fucking time, but I love it so much, and it's our
I
thing
love them,
now.
and I hope we never stop doing it.
We won't. And also, Black Lives Matter. Every day. Today, yesterday, the day before that, tomorrow.
And also,
And
Got you.
I hate you so much.
Sorry.
I love
I
it.
had to
It's
do
perfect.
something.
She felt left out. Anyways, we love you all. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you next time. This has been happening on Face. Every time I FaceTime with Chloe, I've been doing a heart or a peace sign, and I've been getting hearts and balloons.
All right, you guys, we're gonna go figure this shit out. All right.
Yeah. All right. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Goodbye.
Thanks for
Bye.
listening. Bye.